We're back on the Morgan Streetman Show, and you've broken it down for me personally, Morgan, in relation to the Ukraine, clearer than what I can get on most news organizations and stations.
Well, I don't think they're designed to make it clear to you. I don't think they want you to figure out what the real story is here, right? Where the real corruption is, because it lies at the feet of Joe Biden and others. That's the issue. It's what we call the Uniparty, which is like the Democrats and the Republicans united against the American people. And that is the basis of the whole President Trump phenomenon. And the MAGA movement, the Make America Great Again movement that he had, is people are sick of that. They're sick of the Uniparty. They're sick of the entrenched financial interests that reside in Washington, D.C. and govern the rest of the country like it's their own personal fiefdom. And they do what they want. They ship billions of dollars over to Ukraine. That money gets laundered back to them in, parcels. I mean, they don't get all of it back, obviously. There's plenty of it that stays in the Ukraine, but enough gets back to them. I mean, you got to ask yourself, where do people like Barack and Michelle Obama, who, by the way, really didn't do much before they became, the leaders of this country, or President Obama did. I mean, okay, so he was a senator for a little while. You don't make a ton of money as a senator, right? He was a state senator. You don't make much of anything as a state senator. And before that, he was a community organizer. You think you make money as a community organizer? Absolutely not.
Yeah, but you really can't do any of this, because when the dust settles, it's going to be Biden.
Well, it's going to be Biden, but I'm just saying,
can't
where did
say
the
bad
Obamas
things.
get the money for the
right, yeah.
$11.75 million home in Martha's Vineyard?
I was wondering that myself.
Oh, his book deal. You got to understand, it was his book deal where they paid him $65 million. Well, yeah, and the parent company, which paid him the $65 million, is also the one that got the contract to produce the Common Core textbooks. They got the contract to produce 80% of the Common Core textbooks. Now,
because even if it's that good of a book, not that many people read anymore.
I mean, come on. You just think about it. $65 million worth? I don't think so. That, I would say, is a little bit overpaid for that book deal. Now, could there have been something else involved? Well, those are the questions that are being raised right now. That's what we're asking about, and that's what we're seeing involved over in the Ukraine. Now, I wanted to tell you, because then we want to move on and just get to our out there as well, which we do have a little out there for you, but this one's pretty out there. But before we do that, some of this stuff is pretty out there, too. But you got to go out there and watch some of these One American News Network interviews that Chanel Rion did, because she did a great job with them. And another person that she interviewed, we've talked about Victor Shokin. And by the way, on our YouTube page, some people have come forward and, Victor Shokin was totally corrupt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, you know what? Give us some evidence. Instead of just repeating things that you read in the liberal media who are trying to brainwash us, who just say it as a matter of fact, as though it's a conclusion with no support. Give us the evidence of him being corrupt. But I tell you what, why don't we look at another one? How about Ukrainian Prosecutor General Yuri Lutsenko, one of the guys who followed Victor Shokin up, right? Because you know what? He's also interviewed by One American News Network. And as he reports, and I don't think I'm going to run the clip because we're kind of running out of time, and we do want to get to our out there, but I'll tell you what he reports. He reports that Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch, remember her? We've talked about her already in the show, but remember, she was one of the witnesses in the impeachment proceedings. That she and George Kent, another one of the witnesses in the impeachment proceedings. Remember, George Kent, he testified with Bill Taylor, and Bill Taylor's the guy at the State Department who would not allow the visas to be approved for the Ukrainian whistleblowers who wanted to come over and tell us some of the corruption and what's going on in the Ukraine. Well, Yuri Lutsenko, Ukrainian Prosecutor General, said that Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch and George Kent basically came to his office to begin discussing with him the idea of not investigating certain people and certain companies. And he recounts one meeting, actually, with Marie Yovanovitch where she came personally to his office, and he actually began writing names down on a piece of paper. And he said, okay, so these are the list of names of people you do not want me to investigate or prosecute, because she was telling him, look, you've got to shut these investigations down. You can't investigate the following people. These people are hands off. Okay, they belong to the ruling elite. They belong. These are the agents of the Uniparty that we're talking about. Don't you dare investigate them. These are the people who are doing exactly what we want them to do. And Yuri Lutsenko, the prosecutor general, he wrote these names down on a piece of paper and he held it up to her and he showed her. He says, okay, so this is the list of people you do not want me to investigate. And he said he then took the piece of paper and tore it in half and tore it in half again and tore it in half again and tore it in half again. And he said, this will never happen in my office. I will not accept you telling me who I can and cannot investigate or who I should and should not look into. But think about what's going on here, folks. This is corruption at the highest levels, and these are the same players, these highly corrupted people who are moving this money around, who don't want you to find out that Joe Biden's family was being paid off for protection money in the Ukraine. These are the same people coming over here and testifying about how corrupt President Trump is in his dealings with the Ukraine and why he ought to be impeached. I mean, that is, to use a phrase from Joe Biden, that is such a bunch of malarkey, it's hard to even fathom. I mean, these people are completely shameless, and they think you are completely stupid. But I don't think you are stupid. I think you're seeing through this, and that's why impeachment is not popular. People want this to end. They would like the Democrats in Congress and others to actually do something. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.